Good evening, and welcome. Tonight, we're diving deep into the heart of a generation forged in fire, tempered by uncertainty. Welcome to our deep dive into the most shocking, adverse, and traumatic experiences faced by Generation X. Born between the mid-1960s and the early 1980s, this is a generation defined, not by peace and prosperity, but by a world in constant flux. From economic crises to global pandemics, this generation has seen it all. They've witnessed firsthand the fragility of life, the rapid pace of technological advancement, and the ever-shifting sands of geopolitics. This is their story, the story of Generation X Trials and Tribulations. The 80s. A time often remembered for its vibrant fashion and iconic music. But behind the neon colors and synthesizers, a different story was unfolding. The economic recession of the early 1980s hit America hard, and Generation X, many still children, watched as their parents struggled to keep their jobs and homes. The unemployment rate soared, reaching double digits. Lines at unemployment offices grew longer, a visible reminder of the economic despair gripping the nation. The American dream, once a promise, began to feel like a distant memory for many. For Gen Xers coming of age in this era, the recession wasn't just an economic downturn, it was a defining experience. They saw families uprooted, forced to move in search of work. They saw the strain on their parents' faces, the worry etched into their features. The recession instilled in them a sense of pragmatism, a wariness of economic instability that would stay with them throughout their lives. As the 1980s progressed, a new threat emerged, one that cast a long shadow of fear and uncertainty: the AIDS epidemic. This wasn't just a health crisis, it was a social crisis, shrouded in stigma and misinformation. Initially dubbed the gay plague, AIDS quickly spread, fueling fear and discrimination against the LGBTQ+ community. The media, often slow to grasp the complexities of the disease, sometimes fueled the hysteria with sensationalized reports. This only deepened the stigma surrounding AIDS, creating a climate of fear and silence. For Generation X, coming to terms with their sexuality in this climate was fraught with anxiety and danger. The AIDS epidemic forced a generation to confront mortality, prejudice, and the very human cost of misinformation. It was a stark reminder of the power of fear and the importance of compassion in the face of a health crisis. Chapter 3. The Challenger Disaster, A Nation in Mourning. January 28, 1986. A crisp, clear morning. Millions of Americans, many of them schoolchildren, gathered around television sets, their eyes fixed on the sky. America was about to launch Challenger, its 25th space shuttle mission, carrying 7 astronauts, including Krista McAuliffe, a schoolteacher chosen to be the first civilian in space. 73 seconds after liftoff, the unthinkable happened. The Challenger exploded, disintegrating into a plume of smoke and debris over the Atlantic Ocean. The nation watched in stunned silence as the horrifying images replayed on their screens. For Generation X, many of whom had grown up with the space program, the Challenger disaster was a deeply personal tragedy. It shattered the illusion of invincibility, a stark reminder of the inherent risks of exploration. The disaster forced the nation to confront its vulnerability, its mortality, and the very real dangers faced by those who dared to push the boundaries of human achievement. Chapter 4. Living Under the Cloud. The Ever-Present Threat of Nuclear War. For Generation X, the Cold War wasn't just a history lesson, it was a constant presence, a shadow looming over their childhoods. It was a time of heightened tensions, of bomb shelters and duck-and-cover drills. The threat of nuclear annihilation hung heavy in the air, a terrifying possibility that shaped their worldview. Every news bulletin, every political speech seemed to underscore the precariousness of the world. The Doomsday Clock, a symbolic timepiece maintained by the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, served as a stark reminder of how close humanity was to midnight, to global catastrophe. The Cold War wasn't just about geopolitics and military might, it was about fear. The fear of espionage, the fear of ideological infiltration, the fear of the unknown. It was a fear that permeated every aspect of life, from popular culture to education to everyday conversations. Chapter 5. 9/11. An Unthinkable Attack, A Generation Transformed, September 11, 2001. A day that began like any other, but within hours, the world would be irrevocably changed. The terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, etched into the collective memory of America, left an indelible mark on Generation X. The images of the Twin Towers collapsing, of smoke billowing from the Pentagon, of first responders rushing into the inferno became seared into the national consciousness. The attacks weren't just an assault on American soil, they were an assault on the American psyche. They shattered the sense of security, the illusion of invulnerability that had defined the post-Cold War era. In the aftermath of 9/11s, the world seemed a different place, a place of heightened security, increased surveillance, and a pervasive sense of vulnerability. For Generation X, now adults with families of their own, the attacks brought home the fragility of life, the ever-present threat of terrorism, and the realization that the world had entered a new and uncertain chapter. Generation X enduring legacy. These events, these trials and tribulations, have left an indelible mark on Generation X. They've shaped their values, their outlook, their very understanding of the world. They've taught them resilience, adaptability, and a deep appreciation for the fragility of peace and prosperity. These events have shaped Generation X in profound ways, leaving lasting impacts on their lives and the world around them. They are the generation that came of age in the shadow of uncertainty, but they emerged stronger, more resilient, and more determined to build a better future. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.